I made this video already, but as my fiance pointed out, the lighting in the first one was terrible. So I am refilming it and also splitting it up into 2 separate videos, actually 3. So one is going to be about my eating disorder, one is going to be about my project, and one is going to be about how I recovered finally and how I've managed to stay recovered for the last 3 years. I might sound a little distanced from what I went through just because I think the fact that I have been recovered for the last 3 years have put some padding in between how horrible my life used to be and how it is now. So if I sound lighthearted talking about any of this, trust me, in the moment and when all this was going on, there was nothing lighthearted about it, and the only way that I knew how to keep giving myself hope and not get lost in just like the gravity of the situation was to joke about it and to laugh about it and to, you know, because otherwise it's like you can cry for days and days and days, and that's not gonna do anything for you besides just make you lose all hope, which is not a good thing in recovery. So that's just a little precursor. Okay, so I got officially diagnosed. I was 16 years old, and I was already, you know, going at it for months and months. And a lot of people say that you don't know that you're sick until, you know, somebody tells you what an eating disorder is. I was kind of weird in the sense that I deliberately tried to get an eating disorder. Like, I researched what eating disorders are, and I researched all the tips and tricks, and trying to get myself an eating disorder and going on all the pro-Ana websites and talking to girls with eating disorders, and one of them actually started giving me pointers, which that's horrible. So I was kind of, I think my situation is kind of unique in that way because I don't know a lot of other people who like deliberately went out and tried to get themselves an eating disorder. But I finally succeeded, if you can even call that success, and I started losing weight really quickly. Like, I was losing 4 pounds a week for weeks and weeks. So my mom found out. Maybe I'll get into the gory details of that in another video. She took me to the doctor, and the doctor, after, you know, doing the full physical on me and seeing that I had lost like 30 pounds, her suggestion was,
you gotta really drink more milk. Maybe throw in some eggs in there in the morning for breakfast. Otherwise, you're gonna end up in the hospital.
I guess that's where it's gonna end up then. Obviously I didn't start drinking more milk and eating eggs with every meal, like she said, so naturally, in a few more weeks, I ended up at the Stanford Eating Disorder Unit, it's in Northern California, and that's a unit that's designed to basically save your life. Like, I had a lowered body temperature, I had a lowered heart rate, like, they literally don't let you get out of bed. You're on bed rest for X amount of days until that stabilizes, and then they wheel you around in wheelchairs. Get to use a commode. Not something that the average 16-year-old has to deal with at all. I was there for 2 weeks. I was popping diet pills like candy, exercising like a maniac. I was walking 10 miles a day every single day, and then going to the gym and spending like 2 to 4 hours at the gym. Sometimes I'd go to the gym after every meal, and then I would obviously throw up after every meal also, and take diet pills after every meal. So my body was a mess, I'm sure. I don't know how it was able to withstand that level of abuse, but luckily It did. I got out of the eating disorder unit and immediately relapsed. I wasn't in any sort of recovery mindset whatsoever. I was just like, I'm not sick enough. I need to get sicker. I need to, you know, make my parents listen to how miserable I am. I want to go back home, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up in that unit once more, and then my parents basically sent me home to my grandparents to Ukraine, where I ended up in like a psycho something hospital. So I was there for 2 months, and there was barely any supervision there for us. So I was leaving the hospital to go walk laps, like miles around the city, go and buy myself bags of cookies and chocolates, and I would bring it back to my room. And I had a private bathroom, which is the opposite of what you should be giving a patient who has bulimia, but like spending every single like dollar that I had on binge food, and I would eat it and I would throw it up for like all day long in my room. And at one point, my doctor, who actually impacted my life really significantly, she was a big part of my recovery, but
the nurses are hearing your shower running 6 times a day.
yeah, well, I'm showering 6 times a day.
Why are you showering 6 times a day?
If you get cold, just refresh myself. And she's like,
okay.
Why are you believing me? I don't want anybody to believe me right now. I just want somebody to force me to like do something other than what my mind is forcing me to do. People can't read minds, so doctors can't read minds, your therapist can't read your mind, even though sometimes it might feel like they can, but they really can't. So yeah, I was basically shooting myself in the foot and the other foot and both arms by lying to everyone. I have to move over a little over here because the lighting was just hitting me weird. So I was at the hospital for 2 months. In 2 months I managed to gain like 2 pounds, and then I lost it right when I got out of the hospital. And that summer I came back to the States to visit my parents, and with the intention of going back to Ukraine after I was done visiting, even though I didn't want to, but I didn't want to tell them that because I had fought to be able to go there for so many years. And before I was able to fly back to Ukraine, I basically relapsed, I had been relapsing this whole time, but I relapsed really badly, and I ended up in that same eating disorder unit at Stanford that I was at the beginning. At risk for seizures. I was like drinking enormous amounts of water every day to not feel hunger, taking not only diet pills but laxatives at this point. I had learned that trick for a girl that I met at the hospital in Ukraine, and I actually want to do a separate video about this phenomenon of going into treatment and then picking up different tips and tricks and whatever from people there, which is really counterproductive. But so I ended up in the eating disorder unit again, and I was there for another 2 weeks. And at this point, my parents were just really so fed up with everything. They had spent so much money and so much time and effort, and like we literally had locks on the refrigerator and the cabinets and whatever. Like food was hidden away from me because I was just like eating it all. I even ate cat food because that was the only thing not locked up, and my parents thought that it was safe. But that, like, if you think you have weird things that your eating disorder makes you do, like if you think that nobody else has done what you're doing, trust me, they have. And I've done some crazy fucking things, like because of my eating disorder. Things that it's like you tell people and they look at you with this shocked expression. But it's not you. That's not who you are. That doesn't define you. I'm not eating cat food anymore at this point, but it's like, your body is a smart machine. It's a machine that wants to prolong and sustain life. So if you're doing your best to try to kill it, it's gonna do its best to try to keep you alive. If that means like making you crave cat food, then your body will do it. So anyway, it was really bad at that point. I was still managing to like sneak past all the locks and stuff, and I was throwing up all day, every single day. Like, that was my entire existence. Then I went off to college. Most of college I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any sort of semblance of a social life. I went to like one college party, but they kind of suck, so I don't really care that I missed out on college parties. But the no friends thing was hard. I had a couple of good friends from high school that went to the same college as me, and they were really supportive of me. And even though my eating disorder made me isolate and not answer phone calls and not respond to text messages and like give 1,000,001 excuse as to why I can't hang out ever, they still didn't abandon me. So, but as you can imagine, being at college, being on my own, it got even worse. I had like an allowance to buy food every single week, and I was obviously spending it all on, you know, binge food, and I was throwing most of it up and just getting sicker and sicker. And at this point, I wasn't going to any sort of therapy. Then, like, the shift happened in my mind. Basically, I realized that now I'm on my own. My eating disorder is my problem. Anything that I do is gonna just directly impact me, even though it was breaking my family's heart, and I know that. But ultimately, the only person it was really hurting was me. So I had a choice of either continuing down this path and just running myself into the ground for no reason, or actually starting to try to recover and starting to try to get myself out of this hole I dug somehow. When you have something that you really want, don't look at the hurdles between you and between that thing. Don't pay attention to what's standing in your way. That shouldn't be your focus. Your focus should be your goal. And there are ways of accomplishing any goal in this life. Like, you can do absolutely anything. It's just a matter of finding the perfect path to it. Finding the perfect path to getting into treatment and, getting insurance to cover it was literally as simple as gathering the courage to call the center and then coming in for an appointment. And they dealt with the insurance. I didn't have to hit up my insurance, at all. Just go for it, and if one place rejects you, then go to the next place. You will get the help that you need if you just try. So don't just sit and wait, because it's not going to happen if no one's going to come knocking on your door.
I heard you wanted treatment. We brought it.
No one's going to do that. So that was basically the timeline of my eating disorder. There's definitely a lot of gory details that I probably skipped in this first initial video, and if you guys want to hear about those at any point, let me know, and I'll do another video where I can go into the nitty-gritty of all of that stuff that I might have omitted in this one. Eating disorders are definitely not the most glamorous and the prettiest of things, as you guys know. So anyway, if you want to see that, let me know. I will talk about it, despite not wanting to. If some of you are losing hope and think that you're too far gone, I want to inspire you to pick yourself back up and to just go after it, because I didn't think that my life was ever going to be normal, but it is now, totally normal. And your life can also be totally normal. Alright, so let me know if you guys want to see another video of me going in depth on my disorder or not. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully this glare on my forehead isn't too distracting, but I've literally moved chairs like 3 times already. So if I have to move one more time, I'll throw this camera out this window. Okay, bye guys.